Now continuing, he said, Iblis, my Lord, respite me till the time when they are raised. He said, surely thou art of the respited ones. Respite meaning to give time. He has a measure of time to do his act. Till the period of time made known. Again, the judgment. He said, again, Iblis, my Lord, as thou hast judged me erring, I shall certainly make evil fair seeming to them on earth, and I shall cause them all to deviate, except thy servants from among them, the purified ones. Now, again, this refers to the time of the coming of Master Fard Muhammad and his raising up of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. So Satan has hatched a plan that since I won't accept the fulfillment of the prophecies that talks about the coming of God and the raising of his Messiah as the new ruler to usher in the kingdom of God, since I won't go along with that, then I'm going to make his chosen people deviate by making evil fair seeming to them. Now, this has everything to do with why it was necessary on the part of the Caucasian people, the synagogue of Satan in particular, to forge integration. It wasn't black people. We wanted justice and equality. And we had something, separate but equal was the term that we, sufficiently could live with, because we were already isolated and ostracized, but only in a way of inequality, as you all know in the history. So now integration has to come in, meaning that they have to pull black people from their isolation and from their morals and their dignity into the life and social concepts and falsehood of the synagogue of Satan, the Caucasian people. So now we can adopt their social concepts, their wickedness, their immorality. This is what is being said in these verses from the Holy Quran. Now, so the social concepts of this world shape our minds into embracing wicked thoughts and behaviors. Where else do you get them from? This is how evil is made acceptable and attractive to us. Now, only those who realize and understand how this is done have a chance to overcome this world of deception. And these, of course, are the purified ones who obey and follow the guidance of Allah coming through his Messiah. And very few are they today. And we're going to get to that point later on. Now, of course, this is not an easy task for anyone, because the synagogue of Satan has lodged its wickedness within its social and government systems. And we need to think about that, because while we're trying to get one man out of office and another man in office, and while we're trying to do things in a system that's already set up on wickedness, God has ordered that such systems be destroyed. That's another subject for another time. And there's a way that that's going to be done. And inshallah, we'll address that in the future. Now, what do we mean by the synagogue of Satan lodging its wickedness in its social systems? Well, let's consider the arts and entertainment sector, particularly television, motion pictures, and music. Unrighteous behaviors and slander of others are promoted through these channels. Just consider the fact that movies and television series are made about real people, but such people are portrayed in a way remotely distant from their actual lives and the actual events in their lives. Now, once upon a time when they had a show called Dragnet, Dragnet had a disclaimer. The names have been changed to protect the innocent. So the dramatization didn't bring about or didn't give you the names of the actual people who were involved in those crimes upon which those episodes were based in Los Angeles. Now is open season to spread lies and slander using bogus disclaimers, which give Hollywood the license to ruin the lives of people by slandering them. Now, what is slander? Most of us should know what slander is. There's not a person probably who's walking around who has some friends or some social interaction that has not been lied upon. Well, slander is the action or crime of making a false spoken statement that is damaging to a person's reputation. Now, the series, The Godfather of Harlem, is a prime example of this type of wickedness. Now, consider this from a recent article in the New York Post about this series, The Godfather of Harlem. It states, each episode of Godfather of Harlem carries a disclaimer that while the series is inspired by actual persons and events, certain characterizations, incidents, locations, and dialogue were invented for dramatic purposes. For instance, Brancato, I think that's the name, well, I don't know if I'm pronouncing his name correct, but that's the name of one of the creators, says he and co-creator Paul Eckstein took some historical license, meaning freedom, to do what they want to do in Sunday night's finale. Quote, these specific actions are the product of my imagination. Yet they're real people who are dramatized in this series. Adam Clayton Powell, Malcolm X, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and some of the Italian families. Now, is this bogus disclaimer that Hollywood now puts on its series that gives it the freedom to slander people, so-called legally? But there's no legality in the Holy Quran when it comes to slander. And see, this is what this world will soon know. We are creators or creations of Allah. And He has given us guidance upon which human behavior is to be governed. So while you may legitimize something, He doesn't. And since you don't have the power that He has, then we will meet the consequences of our violation of divine law. We're going to get to that in a minute too, because we will soon know that there's a God in power that don't like and disdain and hates the way human beings are conducting business among themselves. Now, this bogus disclaimer is not sufficient to keep the ignorant masses who don't even read disclaimers. It doesn't keep them from believing that these events are true. So they develop certain biases and certain hatreds and certain attitudes, not just through the Godfather of Harlem series, but everything that comes through Hollywood is designed to take our minds and taint it to a certain way that we should think about things, a certain position we should have on a certain person, and a certain view that we should have. But it's all based on slander and wickedness. Now, what is the purpose of this series, The Godfather of Harlem? Of all the things of good that the public needs to know right now, that will help embolden our lives to do better, the synagogue of Satan continues to pour filth and wickedness into the hearts and minds of the people through slander. Now, again, you may accept that because we want entertainment and evil has been made fair seeming to us. So we'll gobble it down like pigs in a slop trough. But again, Allah wants us to behave differently. Now, Chris Brancato and Paul Eckstein, whose evil imaginations created this slander series, have demonstrated, as with others like them, disrespect for the family of Malcolm X. disrespect for the family of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, disrespect for the family of Adam Clayton Powell, and disrespect for the Italian families that it's portraying, particularly these current generations, and disrespect for the families of those whose parents and grandparents sacrificed their lives to support men like Malcolm X, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and Adam Clayton Powell, as they fought against the wickedness of the Caucasian government and the Caucasian people. So is your motive hatred because they were strong enough to stand up against your wickedness and tyranny? And mind you, during that time, we were isolated, being bit with dogs and sprayed with hoses. Keep that point in mind. Now, as for the actors who willfully participate in this gross slander, they go along with it for the sake of money. We know that. For the sake of fame, and we want Emmy Awards and other awards. However, the money they make will not be able to alleviate their burdens of guilt and shame, especially when they become more aware of their role in producing an ever-increasing degenerate society. And that's a point to keep in mind. So while an actor may be raising his fist or her fist to champion some other cause, your dramatizations, your acting careers of filth and indecency is bringing that upon the people. It's through you that the synagogue of Satan is making the world in which we live. But you